rewatching this. Let me just see if anyone pops in. I did not announce Impromptu live. Do, 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 do. I will wait just a minute or two and then I'll go ahead and get started. Oh, cool. We got some people. Hello. Okay, now I'll get started. Hey guys, how are you? So this is Impromptu. By the way, I apologize for not announcing a live. I was trying to film this video. I tried to film it a million different times and it was just not happening. I don't know why, so I was like, screw it. I'm just going to go live and talk about the topics that I was going to film. So I apologize if anyone, hi Daybreak, I apologize if anyone is rewatching this and I didn't announce. This was going to be a pre-filmed video. Again, it just wasn't happening. So I don't know why. I tried to film it a billion times and I was just like, screw it. So, hello. Hi, we are the people. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you guys for being here. So this video is going to be all about comedy and all about the state of comedy right now. Again, this was something I tried to video and release it as a regular video. I don't know why. My brain was just jumbled. Hi, Keith. How are you? Okay, so let's talk about it. Comedy is actually one of my absolute favorite subjects and one of my favorite things. I'm a huge fan of comedy. And a lot of people have been talking about the state of comedy. Hi, Special K. A lot of people have been talking about the state of comedy right now. People say that comedy is dead. It's no longer funny. A lot of our comedy is dying. And I do agree with that to a point. I think that mainstream comedy has gotten so watered down because people are so worried about being politically correct. I have hair in my lip gloss. Okay, I think it's out. People are so worried about being politically correct, not being canceled, making other people happy, making sure they stay on the same exact narrative. I quit watching Late Night After Leno. Apparently, a lot of people are with you. So I have 3 different headlines. If you guys want to hang out, we'll go through those headlines, and then I'll give you my thoughts and theories on why I think this is happening. The first headline is, I don't know about you all, but I grew up watching Saturday Night Live. I was a huge fan of SNL growing up. One of my friends, Brittany, and I, we used to reenact all the sketches that happened the Saturday before. And, you know, when I was really, really young, just a little tiny Sarah, it was, I think, was Steve Martin still on? I don't even know. But Chris Farley was really big. Some of his sketches are absolutely timeless. I think Steve Martin was before my time, but Steve Martin, Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, we used to do, wait, who was it? Could you imagine someone like Richard Pryor, Chevy Chase, John Belushi? Yep, John Belushi was another one. Exactly, and those were the greats. I stopped watching around 2000. You're not alone, apparently, and I'll get into these numbers in just a second, but it used to be so great. I like the Gutfeld show. Cool, we're going to talk about all that. Bill Murray, he's another great. Okay, so Saturday Night Live, they just had their season premiere for season 47. Yes, all of them the greats. We're going to get into Gutfeld in just a second. Okay, so Saturday Night Live premiere ratings down nearly 50% since last year. That's a huge dip. So, season 47 premiere on October 2nd pulled in 4.9 million viewers. And the year before, they had over 8.2 million viewers. Yes, 50%. When the audience demographic was broken down, hi Lance. When the audience demographic was broken down, SNL ratings were down 47% with people between the ages of 25 to 54 and 50% with people between the ages of 18 to 49 compared to the comedy sketch show's 2020 premiere episode just the year before. The woke joke is on them. Yes, it is, Keith. So, and if you know anything about demographics and ratings, that's the sweet spot. That sort of, like, if you take all of it and put it together, that 18 to 49 age range, like, that is your sweet spot. That's where you want, especially that 25 to 54 age range. Those are the people that you want to be watching your shows. And here's the thing about SNL. And I'm going to tell you what I personally know with SNL. So, do you guys know where a lot of the SNL performers come from? Do you know what school a lot of them come from? Let me know if you do. Do, 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 do. Okay, I'll tell you. Second City. Yes, Second City. Second City is one of them. Also, the Groundlings. So, Will Ferrell went to the Groundlings. Yeah, Second City and the Yale. No, Yale. Ha! Second City. Okay, so it's Second City and the Groundlings in Los Angeles. So a lot of the people that came from Chicago went to Second City, and if they came out of Los Angeles, they probably went to the Groundlings. Kristen Wiig was the Groundlings. Will Ferrell, I believe, was the Groundlings, and that's basically a training ground for. There is a Second City in Los Angeles too, but the Second City they take from SNL is typically the Chicago Second City. So the Groundlings is another big one, and that is where they teach you a lot of characters, right, in that style of of SNL. And I went to the Groundlings. I went for 3 classes. Have you ever watched Second City? Is that Second City TV from Canada? I don't know what that is, but I've never watched it. So when you go to the Groundlings, and this is, I saw your arm move, and yeah, I have a mirror back there now, and I'm gonna tell you that when I first got that and I was filming, I would freak myself out. I was like, who's behind me? Because I'm not used to it. That's a new mirror right there. So when you go to the Groundlings, which is another, besides Second City, that is the other big training ground for SNL, they will tell you if and a lot of people go there because they want to eventually get on SNL, and they run that school like boot camp. So the people that are on SNL, that should be, in theory, that should be the cream of the crop as far as comedic actors. Like, there is no excuse for this show not to be good. The cream of the crop. And they tell you when you get into the Groundlings, they say statistically you have a better shot at being a NASA astronaut than being an actor on Saturday Night Live. And they're absolutely right. Every comedic actor wants to be on Saturday Night Live. And so in my opinion, there is no excuse for the show not to be good. So what happened? And it used to be good. It's not everything is going to be out of the park, but it used to be really good. So what happened? And I think you guys are right. I think it's over politicized. And it's people that the woke writers, and I want to tell you something. Norm Macdonald, the late great Norm Macdonald, actually had something to say about this. You look like my 32nd girlfriend. Oh boy. Norm Macdonald had something to say about this, and I think this is where the shift started to happen. Politically correct is not funny, totally, and they're more concerned about being politically correct, and they're more concerned about virtue signaling or being woke than they are about actually being funny. So what Norm Macdonald said, so let's compare the old SNL to the new SNL. I don't know if you guys remember the actor Darrell Hammond. Is that his name, Hammond? Darrell, hold on, let me look. He used to play Donald Trump a long time ago. Darrell Hammond? I'm just checking this name. Is that his name? Darrell Hammond. So Darrell Hammond used to play Donald Trump a long time ago, and we all know that when Trump got elected, Alec Baldwin started playing Trump. And Norm Macdonald is another great one. Norm Macdonald was in an interview a few years ago and was asked, who do you like better, or do you think that Alec Baldwin's Donald Trump is funny? And Norm Macdonald said, no, I don't think Alec Baldwin's Trump is funny at all. And he explained why he thought that was. And he said, Darrell Hammond's Trump was really funny. It was hilarious. And the reason for that is when you're imitating someone, or when you're making a joke about someone, or when you're that person in a sketch, you have to like that person. because most of us kind of like ourselves. So when you despise that person and you're playing that person, it doesn't really come across as that funny. It comes across kind of icky. And I think he made a really good point there. And he goes, look, this isn't a political point of view. This is coming from a pure comedic perspective that if you're going to play someone, you have to kind of like them. And I think that's where the shift happened is now you have all of these people, they're making fun of conservatives, but they really do despise conservatives. And you can feel that in the comedy. And I'll give you an example. So on this premiere episode, the one that did terribly in the ratings that we were just talking about, they had a sketch where they were making fun of the parents at school board meetings, right? So the premise of the sketch was a school board meeting, which on the surface, I'll be honest with you guys, that's a really good premise, a school board meeting. And look, they've been in the news a lot lately, so it's relevant. And it's such a great premise for a sketch because you have an opportunity to bring so many wacky characters. So you can have the wacky characters and then you can have the straight ones, the school board, or you can vice versa, whichever you want. And I watched the sketch because when I first heard about that, I'm like, really? They're making fun of parents? Like, can you do lowbrow? So I watched the sketch, and I will admit some of it was kind of funny. And then they had one parent that got up and said, what exactly did that parent say? I think I have it right here. I have it. Okay, so this is what the mom said. So I will admit that some of the characters and some of the parents I thought were pretty funny. And then they had one character, and I believe this was Cecily Strong playing this character. And she said, so the school board member said, okay, ma'am, do you have a question about the district's OVID policies or your child's safety? So the topic of the meeting was all the OVID policies, right? So the mom got up. Oh no, it was Heidi Gardner. I don't know who that is. So the mom gets up and she says, I'm so mad. I'm literally shaking right now. Forget OVID. The real threat is critical race theory. And my question is, what is it and why am I mad about it? So that part there, I was like, I don't like it. I felt like that, first of all, it wasn't funny. To me, that little part was injected in to delegitimize these parents' legitimate concerns about CRT. And if you've actually watched the school board meetings, they're pretty educated on what CRT is, and they have pretty good points. So that's exactly what I'm saying. They'll have a sketch that's supposed to be funny, and then they inject something like that into it, which was clearly intended to delegitimize all of these parents because clearly they don't like these parents, and you can feel that. And boom, you just gave the bird to half your audience. Exactly. And here's the thing, like, none of us mind being made fun of, but again, it has to come from a place of love. I don't know if you've ever heard Dave Chappelle say that, but he says on his shows, he's like, the reason I make fun of you is because I see myself in you. I love you, essentially. And that's when it's funny. Like, if you tell me something that's true about myself and it's funny, I'm going to be like, yeah, I do that. Oh my God, I do that. And that's why a lot of us like comedy. But when you really despise the people, hi, what are you doing here in the middle of the day? Kelly, I was trying to make a video about this topic and I did it like a million times and it just wasn't happening. I don't know why. So I was just like, screw it. I'm going live. So I apologize for not announcing it. But if you're making fun of that person and you actually despise that person, it comes through. And just like what you just said, you just pissed off half your audience and now they don't want to watch your show and they're offended. And that's, I think, why their ratings are down. The live banter helps. It kind of does. Thank you. I was like, hi, how are you all? We're going to talk about damn it. Like I don't know why. Sometimes that just happens. Norm Macdonald also said something really interesting about the Trump era because that's when we saw a lot of comedians also all of a sudden people that we thought were funny and people that we liked all of a sudden got Trump derangement syndrome and they would get on stage and instead of saying a clever and witty joke, they would be like, Trump is dumb. And the audience would be like, yay! And so something else Norm Macdonald said in the same interview I watched is he said, you know, this whole Trump era and making fun of Trump, it made it really easy for bad comedians and it made it really difficult for good comedians. And I think that's true. And Norm was also asked, would you ever do Trump jokes? And he goes, no, absolutely not. I shy away from that. I think it's low hanging fruit, which is also what happened. Now we can get into our late night television, because that's also what happened with a lot of our late night television is all of a sudden they were kind of cool and kind of funny. And then it was just like, Trump is dumb and his supporters are dumb and I'm funny. Laugh at my jokes. And that was it. That was the whole joke. But okay, so let's go into late night because a lot of you were talking about Greg Gutfeld and late night. So this is from Newsweek, and this was really, really surprising to me. So Fox News Channel claiming huge victory. Basically, this week, I'll read you a little bit of this and then we'll chat. So, Greg Gutfeld is now the new king of late night television, joining the likes of Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, David Letterman, all of whom have held the title in the past. For the first time in a full week, Gutfeld scored a larger audience than Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, and Stephen Colbert. It's not an exact apples to apples comparison, as Gutfeld airs at 11 p.m. Eastern while others begin at 11:30 or 11:35 on the West Coast. Gutfeld has the advantage of airing at 8 p.m. Despite the time differences, it is a significant milestone nonetheless, since the others air on free broadcast rather than network cable. Gutfeld was just here in Nashville. Oh, very cool. Oh yeah, he was on the Candace Owens show as well. And I believe she films in Nashville and she lives in Nashville. So this is number one, this is surprising because Greg Gutfeld is not a comedian. Although he's a very funny person, he's very entertaining and he's fun to watch. He's not a trained comedian. He's not that his job was not originally to be a comedian. I don't even think his job originally was to be a television host. But what's embarrassing for the other guys, Kimmel, Fallon, he is very funny. He is, but he's not a trained comedian. Fallon, Kimmel, and Colbert, those are trained comedians. Their sole job is to be a comedian and to have a comedic late night show. And he is killing them in the ratings. And again, it's because of their TDS. It's because they're all in the same narrative. No one is giving edgy jokes. No one is taking a risk. They're all saying the same exact thing. And do you remember they had their night of climate change? And do you remember Stephen Colbert's awkward vax dance? Like, that's what they're doing. That vax dance, if you haven't seen it, then look it up. It is so cringy. You know what that felt like? Do you remember in elementary school when they would show you a cartoon, like teaching you how to brush your teeth? That's what it felt like. And it's like, we're adults and nobody wants to watch that. And the night of climate change thing, I remember Kimmel got up and he was basically saying that we were all going to die in a few years. Why am I going to turn into a comedy show to listen to you tell me that everything is doom and gloom in a few years? And that makes me really sad too, because I used to love Colbert. I don't know if you guys remember his older show where he basically played a character. I think he was playing like a conservative character. I liked his show then. I actually thought it was really funny. And he released a book. And it was in my early 20s too. Like, what was I doing? Kelly says Kimmel makes me want to puke. Yeah, he does. He's just, none of them are funny anymore. It feels preachy. It feels cringy. They all do Trump is stupid. And now that Trump is not in, and this is another reason why I think that SNL's ratings are so bad, is because the vax dance, yeah, that's what it was. They did get people in that did not like Trump at all, and they would say that Trump is dumb. And I think that was cathartic for all the people that did hate Trump. And now that he's not in office, they don't have anything to make fun of anymore. They have no material. Which actually they do. They have a ton of material, and that's the thing. There is so much material out there right now. Look at every single speech that Biden gives. Look at everything that is going on. There is so much stuff to make fun of, and they won't do it. They can't do it because that goes against their narrative, which puts them in a really terrible position, which in my opinion, I'm like, shouldn't you have wanted Trump to stay in office? Wouldn't that have helped you a little bit? Yay, Sarah. Oh, lunch break. Hi. What are you eating for lunch? But Stephen Colbert, he used to be really funny. He put out a book where he was this like fake conservative character, and I thought it was pretty funny. He was talking about climate change, and he was like, is climate change really that bad? Like, do we really need alligators and crocodiles? Like, is it really bad if all the ice melts on Greenland and it's actually green? It was funny. And then he was making an argument for like old men guarding the border. He was like, can't we use our old men to guard the border? They're really good at keeping people off their lawns. Like, yeah, I thought he was funny and he had a funny character, but now he's doing the vax dance and it's very difficult to watch him. But I mean, I'm excited for Greg Gutfeld, and I think that Greg Gutfeld is. Let me see actually what it says in here, but I think he's refreshing to other people. I don't eat Colbert's ice cream. Okay, so this is what Colbert said about, or not Colbert. This is what Gutfeld said about people watching his show. He says, if you cannot tell the other late night shows apart, they're as bland as string cheese and not nearly as appetizing. It's the same jokes, the same assumptions, probably the same writers, all reading the same columns from the same hacks in the New York Times. So we aren't going to like them. And he's right. It is all the same jokes. They literally did the night of climate change together. Those hosts, sadly, are just different slices of the same white bread. Gutfeld is just so different from them, and that's when viewers discovered it. It's like a blast of refreshing, cool air on a grossly humid hot day. I had lasagna. Good for you. But I totally agree with him. It is like watching the same show. And I don't know. I often wonder, when you're a comedian, you want to be different. And that's the thing. That's what I always learned about being an artist or being a business owner or being an entertainer or anything like that. When everyone is going this way, you go that way. But they all keep going this way. And people are tired of it. And Gutfeld's going that way. Gutfeld is likable. Colbert is patronizing. Okay, no, you made a really good point. Gutfeld is likable, and he actually, if Kelly was just saying that he was in Nashville recently, he was there on Candace Owens' show, and I watched a little bit of that interview, and that's what he was saying. He was like, I'm self-deprecating. I make fun of myself probably more than anyone, and I think that makes people like me a little bit more. But you're right. Maybe not so much Jimmy Fallon. But especially Jimmy Kimmel and especially Stephen Colbert, they're patronizing. Like, who wants to watch that? Ew. Okay, here's Kimmel is a pompous windbag. Time is our most precious resource. Don't give it to people who hate you. Exactly. Why? And here's the thing, too. This is something I was thinking about. Gutfeld and Huckabee, good shows. I totally agree. I was thinking about this too because, back in the day, there were only a certain amount of television stations. So you only had so many options. For instance, when I Love Lucy was on, basically everyone in the whole U.S. was sitting down with their families watching I Love Lucy. Well, it's not like that anymore. We're very oversaturated. And a lot of people say, that's the reason for we're never going to have another Letterman or Carson because of those reasons. There's just a lot more options. And I do think there's a little bit of truth to that. But also, think about this. At the beginning of the pandemic, who didn't watch The Tiger King? Or you at least know someone that watched The Tiger King, or you've heard of The Tiger King. That was one show on one platform that everyone watched. I do think if something is really great, I know you weren't a music reaction channel except for some of Tom's stuff, but you should watch some of... Oh, I didn't see that. You didn't? I did. But a lot of people watched it. A lot of people watched it. It was basically the topic of conversation everywhere. And I think SNL almost has the potential to be sort of that thing, but they are saying the same jokes as everyone else. They're patronizing to half of their audience, and they're too worried about being politically correct or having safe spaces. Oh, and I heard Tiger King was a trip. It sure was. I heard that the host this next week is going to be Kim Kardashian. And I also heard, this is a rumor, this is alleged, so don't take my word for it, but I heard a rumor that it was supposed to be, okay, rumor alert. I heard a rumor that it was supposed to be Jake Gyllenhaal and that he got bumped for Kim Kardashian. So that just goes to show me, I wonder if they saw those ratings, or I wonder if they're like, we need ratings, and they got a little desperate and they asked Kim Kardashian to be the host. But that is sort of a low thing, because Kim Kardashian, they might pull in some viewers because people are curious about her, but is that going to be a sketch that people are going to watch years from now and it's going to be funny? Probably not. They're probably not really going to know who Kim Kardashian is or why she was on SNL. But I think that is a desperate attempt for ratings. Not knocking Kim Kardashian, but just saying. Okay, so here's another one. Lorne Michaels is a huge liberal. Now everyone is watching Squid Game. Hi John. I actually have not watched Squid Game at all. I keep hearing about it. Why wouldn't you knock Kim? I'm saying I'm not knocking her in that sense, because I don't like to make fun of someone for. Am I a fan of Kim Kardashian? Absolutely not. I think the Kardashians have done terrible things for women, just to be honest with you. They've all had so much work done. Even Kendall, every single one of them has had so much work done, and they won't admit to everything they do. And then they try to sell diet stuff to young girls and sit there and say that, and then they edit their photos and stuff like that. I have no respect. I still remember Eddie Murphy's Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. Exactly. And you guys, when was the last time you saw a sketch that was as great as like Chris Farley and the Chippendale sketch, or the van down by the river, or the Eddie Murphy sketches, or the Steve Martin sketches? When was the last time can you remember? The closest thing that I can remember to that was maybe Kate McKinnon with the alien thing. I don't know if you guys remember that sketch. SNL hasn't really been funny in 30 years. No, once in a blue moon, they'll throw out a sketch that's pretty funny that I'll watch, but just nothing good. And again, there's no excuse for that. There's not a lack of talent out there. And yes, with Ryan Gosling, I was howling. I think that's the last really great one, and that I can't even remember when that was. Imagine Eddie Murphy doing buckwheat today. And yeah, it's not acceptable. And that's probably why comedians are so scared too, because someone can pull up a tweet that you did. Here's some irony for you. Oscars So White. So we had Oscars So White for how many years? And then they got the first black host, Kevin Hart, and they canceled him. Make it make sense. They canceled him for a joke tweet that he had years ago. Like that. Make it make sense. That happened. Oscars So White for years. They finally got Kevin Hart, who I love Kevin Hart. I liked Opera Man, Sandler. Yeah, that's good. Making no sense. Kelly, thank you so much. Mwah. Thank you very much. It is very much appreciated. SNL becoming unfunny tracks while the left liberals losing the plot. Yeah. Okay, so I got another headline for you. Let's go to the next one. It's all connected. It's all connected. I think this is why I couldn't make the video, because I had too many things. Yeah, Sandler was funny. And here's another thing that people don't understand about Hollywood is that, well, especially Adam Sandler, they get mad about the lack of diversity in films. Well, a lot of people, they hire their friends. So you're going to hire who's around you. And Adam Sandler is one of those people. Adam Sandler hires his friends on all of his shows. So when you see all those people, they're all friends. And that's typically what comedic writers do. They bring on their friends and they give parts to their friends. Okay, so here's another Sandler. He's good to other comics. Yes. And a lot of comics do that. Who else did that? Not Franco. Shoot. Remember that money? That money. That movie. This is the end. Seinfeld does that. Yeah, a lot of people do that. Okay, here's another one for you. Bill Maher on crowd's hunger for mocking wokeness. Okay, I'm taking out my microphone and I'm plugging in. I'm just plugging this in so we don't die. Really? Oh, I lifted it. Okay, that's not gonna happen. Okay, have a great day. Thank you for coming. Hold on, I'm adjusting. We're getting lower. Oh, really? The hell is wrong with this mic? I don't think I know how to adjust that microphone. Hold on. Low. Really? I'm taking that microphone back, or maybe I don't know how to use it. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Okay. Sounds louder and clear. Are you in vertigo now? Okay. I miss my old microphone, I think. I'll figure that out eventually. All right. Okay, so Bill Maher on crowd's hunger for mocking wokeness. For the first time, I'm playing to a mixed audience. So let's see. Bill Maher discussed the surprisingly increased broadness of his stand-up audience on Tuesday, saying there was a hunger among traditional liberals to hear the woke crazy section on the left get taken to task. No one would mistake the staunchly liberal Maher for a right-winger, but the comic has stood out in the late-night world with his pointed criticisms of aspects of wokeness, which he expanded on during the interview with the Joe Scarborough podcast. Okay, so this is what Bill Maher said. For the first time in my life, I am playing to a mixed audience. I was in Nashville. I'm not sure how to take Maher. He fools me sometimes. I think Maher, right before I started this live, because it's not the election year, right before I started this live, I was listening to Tim Pool was talking about this on his show. And they were saying, I think they had a really good point. They were saying how, like, a lot of hosts are kind of just lazy. A lot of them just read what their producers give them, and they don't actually read all of the news. So I think it's a little bit of that with Bill Maher, because sometimes he says things and I'm like, did you not read the news? Like, what? Did you not do any research before you got on your show and you said that? I also think he had serious Trump derangement syndrome. Okay, but he says, for the first time in my life, I am playing to a mixed audience. I was in Nashville about a month ago, and the audience was about 60-40 liberal conservative. That never used to happen, never. And I think it's because 10 years ago, in my opinion anyway, the left did not have a crazy section. There was no such thing as woke, and now they do have a crazy section, which I call out as a liberal. I think I'm kind of one of the only people doing that, and there's a hunger to hear that, which goes into why Gutfeld has, not only is Gutfeld, in my opinion, funny and entertaining, but you would think somebody that his sole job is to be a comedian would have that comedic late night space. There's a hunger for it. And a lot of just normie liberals or normie Democrats do not agree with the crazy woke people. And he's right. There is now a crazy section. And he calls that out. And I think most people do have a hunger to hear it. Gutfeld is good on the 5 as well. Yes, I'm actually really jealous of Gutfeld's unicorn coffee mug that he drinks out of. He has a few people on his show. Yeah, he recently had, I don't know if you guys saw it, but he had Ben Shapiro on his show. And that's the thing I like about, I don't like everything that Bill Maher says. He gets on my nerves a lot. But I do like that he has people on his show. He had recently, Ben Shapiro was on his show debating a guy, and this was actually a really bad debate on the other guy's part. Oh, I really like Kat. I like her a lot. I think she's funny. I didn't see that episode. It was Ben Shapiro and Michael Nance. I think that was his name. And they were actually, if you can find it, look it up. They were actually debating critical race theory. And it was a really good episode. Tyrus is cool. Yes, I love Tyrus as well. What was the debate on CRT? They were just debating it, whether it was good or bad, and whether it was in the school or not. Nance is a total liar. Yeah, it was really bad on Nance's part. He got really emotional and started just giving low blows, and I can't stand it when people do that. I actually do enjoy watching debates with people that have a different point of view from me, and I go into it hoping that they don't get emotional and hoping that they actually give a good argument because I want to hear their argument, but it never happens. I did that, Candace Owens recently had someone from BLM on her show. It was Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, and then this guy from BLM. What is his name? Newsom? Not Gavin Newsom. Something Newsom, because he was one of the BLM protesters that was protesting the mandates in New York City. And they had him on and they were debating him. And I was so disappointed because he didn't give any good points. He just kept getting emotional and talking over everyone and saying just really, he was like talking in circles and saying really broad things. And it just did, I can't stand it because I really do. I want to hear the other point of view and I want to hear good arguments, but it's so rare to find that. I will say Ben Shapiro, since we were talking about Ben Shapiro, it's on YouTube right now. If you go on the Daily Wire, you can find it. It's an hour long. He recently, I don't know how to say her last name, Anna from the Young Turks. You guys know who she is, right? Anna Kars. I don't know how to say her last name, but Anna from the Young Turks, he had a debate with her, and it was actually a really good, how do you say it? Kasparian? Anna Kasparian? Anna Kasparian. So she debated, and I thought this was really brave of her, and actually she said something really interesting. I retweeted her. I know I'm butchering her last name. I retweeted her. I want to read you what she said after the debate. Anna Kasparian. Did I say it right? Did I get it? Kasparian? Oh, Anna Kasparian. Okay. I have a lot of respect for her for doing this. You guys will like what she said. But by the way, this debate, it's an hour long. It's on the Daily Wire under Ben Shapiro, so you can find it. It was a really good debate, and I appreciated that she actually stayed on topic. She didn't really get emotional, and she gave good counterpoints. Although I disagree with her, yes, she is a radical lefty, but I appreciated her coming to the debate and giving good points. I don't agree with her points, but she was at least able to hold her own a little bit. I mean, it is Ben Shapiro. But I want to read to you what she said after the debate. I thought this was really interesting. It kind of goes into what we were talking about just now with Bill Maher. Okay, so she said, going to be insufferable for, because she got a lot of crap. Her loss is a grifter, LOL. So she got a lot of crap from her base for debating Ben Shapiro. And this is what she said after it. She said, going to be insufferable for a second to make an important point to those who want to accuse me of being some sort of demon for allegedly platforming another demon by just debating Shapiro. I went before a room full of 1,000 people who disagree with me. She did. Health industry lobbyists, healthcare companies, oil businessmen, Republican politicians were all there in the audience. No one, except for one worker at the venue and my husband, was on my side. And I went into the debate with a guy who is admittedly known as a good debater. That took some effing balls, and I'm sick of being underestimated and attacked as some sort of bimbo. I went in because I know I can defend my views assertively. Ben has a bigger following than me. I can assure you he's platforming me, and his audience isn't crying about it. I wish listen, this is my favorite part of what she said. I wish the left was more confident. We look weak with the platform scolding. I think we're right on the issues, and I think we can change more minds if we speak to more people. Although I don't agree with her. I know, but you have to respect the meat at what she's saying. She's saying, guys, you have to stop whining every time I go, and this is what I said. I said, she is absolutely right here. When you whine about platforming or having a conversation with someone you disagree with, it makes you look weak and not confident in your points. And I think that goes into the point of how people are tired of these lefty crazies. Because you come on a conservative show and you debate someone, none of the conservatives are giving you crap. No one, or a conservative goes on a liberal show, conservatives don't give them crap. They're not like, why did you do that? Why did you platform that person? Ew, how could you even talk to that person? We're no like, stop whining, but whining is all the libbies do. I know, it's a little hypocritical with some of the things she does on her show, but you have to at least appreciate like the point she was making there. Yeah. But that's what they do. If you're confident in your point, then you're not afraid to go on someone else's show. In fact, you would want to do that because if you're confident in your point, then you're like, wow, this is an opportunity to get my point across to people that wouldn't normally tune into my show. Anywho. Speaking of comedy, Dave Chappelle, they never stop being angry. If you want to laugh a bit, look up the Young Turks on election night 2016. And it will soon be a walkaway. Exactly, and they don't realize like they push their own people farther and farther and farther to the right when they do that. Like Anna just saw how crazy her own people can be. And that's the sort of thing that pushes people farther and farther and farther. They cancel themselves, exactly. Yeah, so Dave Chappelle has a new special. Has anyone watched it? I haven't watched it yet. Hold on, Bill Maher is the same. I haven't watched it, but apparently he has a new special. And hold on, let me pull up this New York Post. So I'll read a little bit of this, and then I'm going to hop off. Comfort in numbers is, yeah. Communists always eat their own, both literally and figuratively. Okay, so Dave Chappelle has a new special out. It's on Netflix. I haven't watched it yet. Apparently, it is not politically correct. And it says, critics call to cancel Dave Chappelle. Wow, why is our comedy so watered down and not funny? Critics call to cancel Dave Chappelle Netflix for ridiculing trans people. So it said, okay, so he has a new Netflix special called The Closer. That's the name of it. It says, cancel culture is threatening to shut down Dave Chappelle's The Closer. The always outspoken stand-up comic is pushing the public's buttons again, and a swelling wave of culture critics and activist organizations are calling for his brand new Netflix special to be yanked from the streaming giant's catalog. This special, the sixth and final in the Emmy winners' big bucks deal with Netflix, premiered Tuesday and immediately stoked the flames of controversy with incendiary jokes about trans women. Chappelle 48. Okay, so in this, I guess this is what happened. Chappelle's bit on the LGBT, on the alphabet bus. Chappelle's bit on the alphabet bus was very funny. What special was that in? Sticks and Stones, I think. I actually watched that with my mom and she loved it. Okay, so it says Chappelle is being accused of defending what many perceive to be problematic comments by rapper DaBaby and Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, as well as deflecting criticism he faced for cracking wise about the trans community in previous episodes. In the closer, Chappelle declares that he's joining Rowling in Team TERF. Oh boy. The acronym for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. So he says he's joining Team TERF. And conflated rapper DaBaby's homophobic statements at a show over the summer with systemic racism. Okay, so this is what Chappelle says. In our country, you can shoot and kill a person, but you better not hurt a gay person's feelings, Chappelle says on stage, referencing a 2018 shooting incident involving the rapper at a Walmart in North Carolina. The 19-year-old victim later died. The brewing backlash is ample, but perhaps most shocking is the reaction from the Netflix own Jacqueline Moore, executive producer and showrunner of the streaming giant's Dear White People. Moore bluntly declared herself done with Netflix. Ooh, because of Dave Chappelle. Okay, this is Moore's tweet. I love so many of the people I've worked with at Netflix, brilliant people and executives who have been collaborative and fought for important art. But I've been thrown against walls because I'm not a real woman. I've had beer bottles thrown at me. I don't know what that's referencing. I love so many of the people I've worked with at Netflix, she shared on Twitter after detailing her own transition in a passionate post. Brilliant. Okay. Sorry. Meanwhile, the National Black Justice Coalition and Civil Rights Advocacy Group focused on the LGBTQ plus community goes as far as to prod Netflix to pull The Closer from its menu. With 2021 on track to be the deadliest year on record for transgender people in the United States, the majority of whom are Black transgender people, Netflix should know better. Perpetuating transphobia perpetuates violence. Netflix should immediately pull The Closer from its platform and directly apologize to the community. LGBTQ plus community leaders at GLAAD also called out the acclaimed comic's pattern of degrading jokes, declaring Chappelle's brand has become synonymous with ridiculing people and marginalized communities. Chappelle's brand has, reps for Chappelle and Netflix have so far declined to comment officially on the negative buzz, but the comic did address the LGBTQ plus community directly in The Closer, saying he harbors no hate for them. He said, "Oh, I'm jealous. I'm not the only Black person who feels this way. We look at the gay community, we go, gee, damn it. Look at how well that movement is going. Look at how well y'all are doing. And we've been trapped in this predicament for hundreds of years. How the F are we going to make that kind of progress?" So that was his joke in the show. However, Chappelle goes on to claim there's a big difference between the old school gangsta gays I'm sorry, I'm reading this the first time with you. However, am I red? Oh. Chappelle says, he goes on to say, "I'm not fond of these newer gays. Too sensitive, too brittle. Those aren't the gays I grew up with. They fought for their freedom. I respect that shit." Sorry. And that's it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that happened. I didn't even read that before. I just read it right in front of you guys, and that's why I started laughing. That's what it says. Oh my gosh. So, there's that. Haven't watched it yet. I didn't see, Dave Chappelle, I love Chappelle, yeah. I've told you guys my own stories about Chappelle. I used to live, and I don't like everything he does. There's one special. He's actually trending on Twitter right now. Look at us. We're trending. We're not trending. Dave is trending, but we're talking about trending topics. I used to live in, and I don't, there was one special that Dave did that I really did not like, but I used to live in Hollywood. I lived right, let's go Brandon. In Hollywood, I lived right next to, not right next to, but I lived like 2 blocks away from the Comedy Store, and Dave Chappelle would come and pop in all the time at the Comedy Store. He would pop in at like 1 a.m. and he would be on stage for 2 hours just riffing. And you would sit there and watch him, and it was really awesome because at that time, not a lot of people are left in the comedy club, so he would come and close and just talk. And he was always drinking and like chain smoking cigarettes, and he would interact with all of us in the audience. He would buy people drinks. It was actually really fun to watch, and it was cool because you're almost watching him form his stand-up, because a lot of the jokes that you would see him tell and kind of work out when he was on stage, you would eventually see that in some of his specials. So I thought that was pretty cool. I miss the Comedy Store. You know what's really unfortunate is Joe Rogan was also a staple at the Comedy Store, and one of my favorite shows, Kill Tony. And both of them, when the pandemic happened, they all moved to Austin. So the Comedy Store is different than it once was. Yeah, one of my favorite things that Chappelle, one of my favorite times I saw Chappelle do a pop-in was Halloween. I think it was Halloween, it was either 2017 or 2018. In West Hollywood, where the Comedy Store is, where I lived, they have one of the biggest Halloween parties basically in the US. People come from all over. It's so bad. When I first moved to West Hollywood, my apartment manager, I sat down with my apartment manager. I was moving from Denver to West Hollywood. I sat down with my apartment manager, and he's giving me everything. I did do stand-up once. No, twice. I wasn't very, well, I had a few laughs. I think I did okay, but I wasn't that great at it. So my apartment manager sat me down and was basically like, you know, telling me all the ropes and stuff, giving the keys and all that, whatever it is that you do. And then he goes, okay, now 2 things. Pride Fest and Halloween. Just join it. That's the advice I'm going to give you. Just join it. But that's how big it is. You literally can't. I left more with your stream, Sarah. Nice. Hi, chat. Back to Dave Chappelle. I just lost my train of thought. But that's how bad it is. You just know that when Halloween is there, it's like 3 days. People come from all over the world to our Halloween. There's huge block parties. You cannot drive anywhere. And it was one Halloween, my roommate and I, we walked up to the Comedy Store. Dave Chappelle was doing like a drop-in, and he was making fun of the Halloween crowd. And what was he doing? He had his microphone, and he was just like, He's like, that's all that goes on down there, you guys. I love him. It was funny. But it hits different when it comes from him, because it really is out of love, all the things that he makes fun. Have you been watching Fox News Channel's 25-year anniversary? No, is that today? I heard about it. Thank you. I heard them in passing. I had Fox News on in the living room earlier today, and I heard them say something about the 25 years, but I had not even turned my television on other than that later on, or today. Hold on, let's see. I'm going to get off in a minute, but I want to see what people are saying about Dave Chappelle. He's trending on Twitter, so let's just check this out. Beatbox and ukulele. Oh, you guys like Bridget Fetisi, right? Hold on, she popped up. Let's see what she's saying about, let's see what Bridget Fetisi is saying about Dave Chappelle being canceled. Okay, so she says, my 2019 tweets about Dave Chappelle continue to age well. So this is what Bridget Fetisi said about, Bridget Fetisi, she has a show called Dumpster Fire. She's actually, Sarah, don't leave. I have to mow my yard. Oh, you have to mow? Sorry, I'm making Kelly have to mow her lawn. Let me get off. So Bridget Fetisi, she's not, is she libertarian? Is she independent? She's not really Democrat. She's not Republican, but Dumpster Fire rules. Yeah, she has a great show called Dumpster Fire. It's, if you want to laugh, watch the show. But she kind of calls out everyone from both sides. I really enjoy her. What happened? I'm just getting here. 55 minutes happened. Politically homeless. Okay, that's what she is. Oh my gosh. How funny is this? So Bridget Fetisi, and what a prophet she is. Bridget Fetisi in 2019 had a quote about Dave Chappelle. Here's the quote. She says, "My God, I just realized we are days away from an opinion piece accusing Dave Chappelle of being a black white supremacist." Like, bring in 2021. What did they say about Larry Elder? Anyway, she retweeted that out today, and that's what she said. My 2019 tweets about Dave Chappelle continue to age well. Sarah is I don't know what I am. What a prophet. I'm trying to see what people are saying about. Some random person said, "I love the blue hair crowd trying to tell professional comedians what." Okay, let's give this person a round of applause. This is a good tweet, and this is just a random person. This isn't anyone famous. Okay, so this person says, "Hi, G-Man." So this person says, "I love how the blue hair crowd is trying to tell professional comedians what good comedy is, as if Dave Chappelle hasn't collected millions of dollars, making entire crowds roar with laughter, all while they pushed away half their family for being absolutely insufferable. It's not punching down if you can ruin the lives of people for making a simple joke and drive okay, I don't like the rest of the tape. And drive someone to unhuman themselves just because they defended a friend." Anyway, you get the point that person was making. Lovely. So that's what's happening with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is not cancelable. He's just not. He's not touchable. Okay, that was really fun. Thank you all for coming. That was a great time. Thank you for joining. This was actually going to be a pre-recorded video, but I just couldn't get my life together. So I'm glad I was able to do some live and catch up with you all. And thank you for coming and hanging out with me. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody, very much. Come to the dark side. What's on the dark side? Dark-sided. Fun time. Okay, good. I had fun. Dave will walk away. Yeah, he will. Oh, yeah? I cancel Chappelle. Thank you, guys. That was really fun. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Special K. Majestic Eagle. Majestic Evil. Harvest Time. Oh. Eva 2024. I don't know where she is right now. Oh, she's on my pillow back there. Later. Okay, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sarah. Lots of fun. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, TNN. Okay, bye, everybody. See ya. You'll find me there. Okay, you'll find Special K on the dark side. It's harvest time, everyone. Okay, bye. Thank you. Join us on Mind. I'll have to look into that. Be excellent to each other. That's good advice. Okay, bye, you all. See ya.